Hi everyone, this is Kevin Kincaid and I will be your host for today's webinar entitled The Value of Trusts. Joining me today is Christina Del Aquila, a relationship manager with Wealth Management and Trust here at AFMA. We have just about 30 minutes of slides for you today, and as you can see in your panel in the handouts section, slides are available there for download should you wish. So feel free to download those, and we'll leave plenty of time for questions at the end. Just as a reminder, your phones are muted, so please ask your questions by typing them into the questions block on your screen. This monthly webinar series is brought to you by AFMA Wealth Management and Trust. We are AFMA's trust company. AFMA stands for American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association and is the longest standing not-for-profit association that empowers military families with affordable financial solutions. We accomplish this by being the premier provider of financial planning, investment management, and trust services for the military, not-for-profit. Also, as a trust company, we have an additional legal obligation to act as your fiduciary, which means we only act in your best interest and for your benefit. Here is an important disclaimer. This presentation is educational. It is for general information only and is not specific investment, legal, or tax advice for any of you individually. Do not rely on this presentation alone to guide your financial planning decisions. Since each individual situation is unique, your needs for financial services will differ. For individual advice, please contact us directly. We produce this webinar series in-house with our own professional staff as a service to our members and to help them better understand the resources that are available to them. I will now go ahead and turn it over to Christina, who will go over the agenda, and we will be back at the end for additional questions and answers. So take it away, Christina.
Thank you, Kevin. Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Del Aquila. I'm a relationship manager for AFMA Wealth Management and Trust. Today we will be covering the value of trust and what are the benefits of one in your financial plan. First, we're going to start with covering what is a trust, going over the structure and potential benefits of one. Next, we will cover some common types of trust. Then we will move on to how a trust can fit into your financial plan. Finally, we will finish with how you go about setting up a trust. What is a trust? A trust is a legal entity which, among other things, establishes a fiduciary arrangement that allows for a third party or trustee to hold assets on behalf of a beneficiary or beneficiaries. When a trust is created, a grantor transfers assets to a third person on the condition that the transferee will hold the property as trustee for the benefit of the trust beneficiaries. On this slide, you will see a visual representation of what I just discussed. If you picture it as a triangle, the grantor is at the top, and the grantor contributes the assets down to the trustee, who the trustee then owns legal ownership. They will hold the assets until they distribute the assets out into the beneficiaries, which then the beneficiaries have beneficial ownership. What are some common benefits of a trust? First, if you'd like to control of your wealth, you can specify the terms of the trust precisely, controlling when and to whom the distributions may be made. Second, you have protection of your legacy. A properly constructed trust can help protect your estate from your heirs, creditors, or from beneficiaries who may not be adept at money management. Thirdly, you have privacy and probate savings. Probate is a matter of public record. A trust may allow assets to pass outside of probate and remain private, in addition to possibly reducing the amount lost to court fees and taxes in the process. On this chart, you see different situations where a trust might come into play. If your focus is succession, here's a list of issues that succession issues that might be common and might be a reason for you to use a trust. If you want to avoid estate complications, manage spendthrift heirs, provide for their dependents, provide inheritance for blended families. On the other side, you'll see life events that might be a trigger for you to look into getting a trust and it might be a good reason for you to have a trust, is incapacity, protection from creditors, divorce, confidentiality, or charity support. Now we're moving into the different kinds of trusts. The first kind we're going to cover is a revocable trust. This kind of trust provides flexibility and income to the living grantor. The grantor is able to adjust the provisions of the trust and earn income, all while knowing that the estate will be transferred upon death to the designated beneficiaries named in the trust agreement. Next, we have an irrevocable trust. This kind of trust ordinarily cannot be amended, modified, or terminated without a court order. So it's a little bit more permanent than the revocable trust that we covered previously. The main reason for setting up an irrevocable trust is to provide a vehicle for completing a gift short of an outright transfer of the asset. This may produce gift tax savings as a result of the completed gift. The next two trusts that we're going to cover is an inter vivos or a testamentary trust. An inter vivos trust is a trust that is operative during the lifetime of the grantor. A testamentary trust is a trust that is created under a will. The primary disadvantage of a testamentary trust is that this technique is using the testamentary trust properly. The property in the trust actually passes to the trust created in the testator's will, thereby subjecting the assets to probate and making the contents of the trust a matter of public record. So as we discussed previously, if privacy is a big concern of yours, a testamentary trust would not be the way to go because it would pass through probate. The last kind of trust that we are going to cover is special needs, or sometimes known as supplemental needs trust. This kind of trust is designed for a beneficiary to be able to benefit from assets that the grantor has put in the trust for them, while avoiding losing eligibility for SSI, Medicaid, or other government benefits. This is so that, if a grantor would like to leave money to a beneficiary, but they don't want to boost their income levels above the requirements for government benefits, this is where a special needs or supplemental trust comes into play. Instead of the beneficiary owning the assets directly, the trust will own the assets. Therefore, the assets will not be taken into consideration for program eligibility requirements. Special needs trust funds are commonly used to pay for personal care attendance, vacations, home furnishings, out-of-pocket medical and dental expenses, education, recreation, vehicles, and physical rehab. Now we've known the type of trust, what is the basic characteristics of trust. Now we're going into when might a trust fit into your financial plan. First thing is, as I mentioned before, privacy is a big factor. So when you would like to keep aspects of your estate private, a trust is a good option. Assets in a trust may be able to pass outside of probate, which allows for privacy and can save time and court costs. Another thing is when you want to ensure your legacy is handled in a manner you choose. Trust can be used to protect beneficiaries who are not yet ready to handle wealth. It can safeguard assets in the event of divorce and can potentially shield assets from creditors. Thirdly, when you anticipate potential tax consequences. This could be regular income tax, this could be gift tax, this could be estate tax. Whatever potential tax consequences that you might anticipate. Holding assets into a trust instead of outright can potentially reduce or eliminate gift and estate tax. So when you are setting up a trust, you need to factor these things in when you're determining your estate planning needs. These are all things that are going into when you start planning to set up a trust. You need to have a will, your power of attorney, medical directives, beneficiary designations. You need to meet and figure out your tax consequences, your potential estate tax consequences, and then a review of your overall assets and financial goals. All those things previously will help us get a bigger picture of what your overall plan is. So when you're working with the team, which is listed here, who you would need to partner with to set up a trust, the team will know what is your overall plan and how is it best that we get there. When setting up a trust, these are who you would need to partner with. One, you would need to partner with your relationship manager. They will help you gather your financial statements, define objectives, analyze risk-return performance and other potential risks. Then your CPA will review your current tax status and potential for estate tax consequences. Your estate planning attorney will then draft your trust document. Once we determine what's the best trust for your needs and what's your overall goals and objectives, they have to actually draft the document. An attorney is the only one who can draft a trust agreement and also answer any legal advice regarding them. Lastly, you are going to have to choose a trustee. This can be either a corporate or an individual, but a trustee does need to be named. And there are benefits that I'll go over in the next slide of why choosing a corporate trustee over an individual might be the way to go. Some of the benefits of choosing a corporate trustee versus an individual is that you have professional money management. The corporate trustee will do not only an investment portfolio for you and do investment management for you, but they will cover tax reporting for you, which is a huge thing when it comes to trust. That is all taken care of when you have a corporate trustee. They have expertise. Everybody on staff there is going to be knowledgeable in the area of trust. They're going to be knowledgeable in the area of investment management. They're going to know the proper tax reporting, and they're going to have compliance and risk standards in place to protect your trust. You also have objectivity. If you name an individual trustee, even though they have a fiduciary obligation, they might have some personal bias towards the beneficiary, or they might know more than a corporate trustee would. And so when you choose a corporate trustee, you have a complete objectivity when it comes to your beneficiaries and managing your trust. Lastly, there's partnership with other professionals. When you choose a corporate trustee, we have a network of professionals. This is what they do for a living. We also can partner with CPAs and attorneys and kind of leave you out of it if you would like to be. You don't have to be bothered with the day-to-day nuances of the trust. When you have an individual trustee, you most likely would have to be the coordinator with the other professionals that you're having to work with, your CPAs and your attorneys. If you would like a more hands-off approach, corporate trustee is there. You can rest at peace knowing that we are handling it and we have the expertise needed to do so.
Great, thanks. That's okay. Thanks, Christina. That was really helpful and very, very informative. I think right now we're going to go ahead and open it up to questions. A few questions have come in already, but please don't hesitate to ask others by typing them into the questions block on your screen. And I will go ahead and leave Christina's contact information displayed here while we go through the question and answer. So Christina, I'm going to go ahead and pick a couple of these pretty simple ones to start out here. What does it cost to set up a trust?
Okay. In order to set up a trust, you have to have an attorney draft a trust agreement. The cost of doing so would be set by the attorney of your choosing. Typically, though, the trustee charges a trustee fee for their services, which would be in addition to the cost from the attorney to draft the agreement. ASMA uses their published fee schedule, which can be located on our website or requested through a relationship manager.
Gotcha. Great. And so what does it mean to fund my trust?
Funding your trust is the process of transferring your assets from your trust. To do so, you would have to physically change the titles of your asset from your individual name or joint names if you were married to the name of your trust. It is also very important that you change the beneficiary designations to the trust as well.
See. So how do I determine what kind of trust I should have, or what kind of trust is best for me?
The first step would be to meet with your relationship manager to determine your overall financial and estate planning goals. And then your relationship manager and you would partner with an attorney to work to draft the right document for the right trust agreement that would meet your goals and objectives.
I see. And let's see here. I think there's one more here. What trust services does AFMA Wealth Management and Trust provide? Is it what we're talking about today? Is that what we can expect from AFMA Wealth Management and Trust?
AFMA Wealth Management and Trust, we can serve as trustee, co-trustee, successor trustee, or agent for trustee, where we would just handle the investment management of the assets in the trust. Our trust charter allows us to serve as trustee in 40 states. So please contact us to discuss your particular situation, and if you have any additional questions regarding the webinar that we've done today, and we can help you out with that.
Fantastic, great. Those were some great questions. I do want to mention there are a lot of questions that have come in that do cover sort of specific tax or somewhat legal advice issues, and those are probably best answered on a one-on-one basis. But we do want to acknowledge that we have received those questions. We're seeing those here, and Christina will be reaching out to you to make sure that you get the information that you need. Along that same line, if we didn't fully answer your question, or you think of another question later on, please feel free to reach out to us at wealthmanagement@afma.com, and we'll break here for now. But you can reach us whenever you need to. Please don't hesitate to ask for help. We do this every day for our military community, and it is our pleasure. This weekend, you'll receive a follow-up email with instructions on how to access a recording of this presentation. You can always sign up for future webinars or review past webinars at wealth.afma.com or at afma.com/webinars. And speaking of future webinars, we invite you to join our colleagues over at AFMA Mortgage Services in 2 weeks when they will host their next webinar entitled The Dangers of Home Building. And then AFMA Wealth Management Trust will be back again in early June with our next webinar, and we hope you will join us then too. If you found this information useful, please share it with your friends and family. Our membership grows stronger every year because you introduce your eligible friends to AFMA. Thank you again for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.